Alrighty, I apologize for being late. We are starting off with VARDON Golf Club. And what I wanted to do was, I know that GSPRO version 2 has come out and it's super popular and there's a ton of videos and a ton of people putting out stuff, so I just wanted to jump on here and see if anyone had any questions. I've been filling out comments like crazy, and just wanted to open myself up to see if anybody had anything they wanted to know about my setup, about the GARMIN R10, about GSPRO version 2. I definitely have some thoughts so far, which we'll get to over the course of this. And then we're starting off here at VARDON Golf Club. First hole was a pretty boring par. Second hole was a shot to the left off of a tree, I think. And then a little bit far of a chip leading to a bogey. Hole number 3 plus 1. 400-yard par 4. And I hit it into a tree. Trying to make up for it here. Probably a 6-iron out of the rough, and just rolls in to get a par at the third. Par 4 third, 161, and just closed the face a little and went left. And just barely holding that circle. It gave me the one putt before it rolled out, apparently. So that's another par. Sitting at plus 1, going to the 5th hole now. And not a very good drive, but going to leave me in a good place here. 133 left. And just a couple yards too long there, but another par. So I'm sure people have seen the animation between the holes. I try a bunch of them in these 4 rounds, so we'll see a few. Every time it does the go from the green and fly over to the next tee, I get pretty mixed results. If you haven't seen the new selection for your data, this is what it looks like. You can drag it around. You can only click 6 boxes, however, so note that. Trying to find about 170 and went way long. Well, landed at 170 and was a little left. So here was a weird misread. It launch direction 37 degrees left, and I don't think that's accurate. So I'm investigating what that was. Someone commented on my videos later that the clubs being right there in front of me might have been causing some of those. So it does happen to me again during this little video here, but I don't think too much of it. It was just a bogey, and we move on to the 7th hole. Just kind of flailed that one out to the right and now have to hit a bunker shot. And it's a pretty good one at that. And that's a par. Hole 8's a par 5. Might be reachable if poke a good drive out there, and that one's okay. 229 remaining, and I just put a really bad cut across swing on it, and that ends up in the tree. leaving a pretty tough little chip under some branches. And I got pretty lucky that it's a par 5 there. And that's going to be just a par, and moving on to hole number 9. Hole number 9's a pretty short par 4. I go to the complete wrong side of the fairway and leave myself quite a ways in for a short par 4, but 126 is going to be a 9-iron that I hit a nice little tight draw in there, but just kind of started it at the pin instead of started it right. And here's where it ends up. We got 501 yard par 5 10th to start the back 9, sitting at +3. So not the worst front 9 ever, but now kind of in some trouble. Hitting it under the branch here on a layup, but going to be a little ways out, 150 remaining. Didn't like that one. That's a chunky mess. Sometimes, chunks with the mat, sometimes you get bailed out, it'll skip off the mat and it's not too bad. This one being about an inch from saving par, but kind of deserving of a bogey there. Not quite sure what happened with that. It jumped up very strangely. Again, hitting under a tree, and I actually nipped it. So it ends up 83 yards away. Trying to dial in a 54 degree, and that's going to roll for a little bit, but I don't think it's going to make it back for a par, so that's bogey. Sitting at +5, trying to get a couple better swings in here to end the round, and that's going to be one of them. Ending up about hole high, middle of the greenish, on a long par 3. So par 4 up next, 382 yards, and we go straight at the water for some reason. Leaving 150 in, and kind of hitting a bad shot out there to the left. No luck there on the close chip, and another bogey, so +6, going to the 14th. Still trying to kind of find the swing here early on in my GSPRO version 2 career. That's my driving iron, hitting it out there to the number, 100 left, and then proceed to yank a shot over across my body and hit it terrible. 22 yards remaining, and that's not going to make it. And then a pretty good chip for a bogey. So +7 here early on at VARDON, which I actually thought could have been not that hard of a course. I'm obviously not swinging it very well. I just kind of came out and played this cold right when I got home. And so I recommend maybe like hitting some warm-up swings or stretching or any of that stuff before trying to go out and shoot a score. But if you're just going out and playing and practicing, and see here on 16 finally like a decent drive, 145 and 2500 backspin, and that rolls out to about 270, and that's really what we're trying to get at. And so because it's a par 5 though, we actually get a chance to go for it. 222 remaining or so, and this thing rolls up right in the birdie circle, perfect distance, And so chipping one away from the +7, and then another decent shot here on 17. A little bit of a longer par 3 and just hitting a nice fade to the middle-ish of the green. 18th is going to be a par 5 as well. That one, good spin and ball speed numbers, but you don't really want to launch it at 5. Just for those data experts out there, don't do that. All right, 52 yards remaining to try and save this round, and just a pathetic little like flop shot effort there. And then now have to do a real flop shot from 17, and at least able to do so for a par. So a 78 at VARDON to start our 4-course venture here. And the next one we play is El Dorado Country Club. Starting off with a house over on the right. And a pretty good shot. That's how you want to start off any round, is with a 270 right down the middle and 70 remaining. Let's see if we can capitalize. All right, second hole here now. After a par on the first, it's a par 5, looks like 524 yards. El Dorado I really like. This was a terrible, I'm really struggling with like this extreme outside in with the shaft that's in my driving iron. Sometimes I hit it perfect and it goes a mile, and then sometimes I hit it really toey, almost going in like a creek over here, but 53 remaining from the edge and somehow not making it. This was baffling to me. It literally hit off the pin. So you saw the scoreboard flash there. I messed with that thing for a while, and I didn't have any luck. I got it to flash like that, like 2 seconds I think I set it to where it did this. And besides that, I was getting it to crash on hole number 1. So I've been playing recently with it on 0. And sometimes I have to go in there and set it before the round even starts. So it's kind of screwed up. I'm sure there'll be bug fixes for version 2 once they wrap their head around everything. A bogey there on 3 leads us to be +1 going to the 4th, 327 yards. Didn't hit a really good drive out there, but it didn't really matter because it was only 327, and trying to land that one on the front of the green and spin it, and it doesn't quite come back. So we move on to the 5th, which is a par 3, and that one is just yanked a little left and is going to now require a chip. And a good one secures another par, and we move on to the 6th hole, which is another par 5, 463 yards, so maybe reachable if we get a good one. I have this major issue of every time I try and hit something harder, I swing more outside in because the acceleration makes me kick the club head out early, and then I have to pull the handle across and blah, 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 blah. So I'm going for this gap now, right in between those 2 trees, and I got it. It ends up left, but and then I hit the cart path. So it ends up left and long, but we are going for between that gap with that club, and we got it. So I was pretty proud of that one. Trying to roll this one in there, and just frustratingly, actually it gave it to us. Oh my gosh, I thought it was going to give us the fringe. Alright, trying to bid it. This was, if you see me hit a shot like 20 yards short, it's because I've towed it so bad that it almost misses. That was a good little chip. And going quickly here at El Dorado Country Club to the 8th hole, still at +1, 342 yards. So yeah, I've been having this weird issue with towing some of the longer irons for some reason, and there's really no reason to. It's just me like freaking out and trying to redirect the club, and it's better to just swing the club. Good little spin back there for another par on 8. 9th hole now. Just a little fairway finder on 9, which is a 372-yard par 4. And probably a 9-iron in here, trying to find this little tiny green, and able to do so. So 37 on the front, and now moving to the back 9 here at El Dorado. El Dorado I liked. It reminds me a lot of some of the courses here in Oklahoma that are woven in through neighborhoods and whatnot, like your standard neighborhood layout type of thing. I don't know what the hell kind of a contact that was, but it is in the bunker on a par 5 and only 21 yards away, so let's get a birdie here, and able to do so. So we're back to even par, going to 11, which is a 350-yard par 4, and I like that swing. 143, 32, 250, can always live with that. Trying to find 100 now, comes off dead straight, get a good bounce. And we have back-to-back birdies at El Dorado, going to -1. Hitting with a bunch of water here, and not seeing me mess with that. Going super left, and then unfortunately hitting a cart path, ending up 138 away, but with no angle. Hitting just a... There's no way in real life that gets through all those trees, but today at El Dorado it does. And we end up with 34 yards left, trying to save this thing, and just not quite getting in there. Oh, I can't. Where's my phone? Cooper said nice shot. I'm assuming he's talking about the one of the birdies there. Hitting to the big part of the green there on 13. And moving on to 14, which is a shorter par 4. And just hitting a fairway finder out there to about 140 remaining. And this one probably a little toey. Here's a weird misread that I think it really ends up being that my clubs are right there next to me because I moved them in the last couple of rounds. I haven't had anything close to that happen. So kudos to the person who commented on the video and said you should probably move your clubs if you have a radar unit. That's not the place for them. So 112 left here on the 15th. And like a perfect shot shape and distance, just tugged it a little bit left into this rough, and then thankfully getting a little checkup into that par circle. Still at +1 after giving those birdies back, and then tugging one away. To the left side of a par 3 16th, and then I don't know what the hell I was doing there. Just sometimes you hit the ball too good. With my wedges, I usually play them off the toe, and if I ever grab it right in the center, sometimes it's not actually what I want to do. So +2 going to 17. At VARDON, I was able to not screw up the last couple holes, so let's see if we can do the same here. Starting off good with a good drive. There's about 90 left. And another toey draw thing that doesn't work out, but should have a decent opportunity to chip this into this little par circle and move on to the 18th, which does happen. Alright, 18th is a short par 4. And I play the contour pretty good and set myself up on the left side of the fairway with a decent shot down at the green here from 84. Trying to birdie the last, get 3 birdies on the day. Another little draw in there, and it goes way too far. Almost 100, so another time when I just hit it a little too good for what I thought. Almost jarred the birdie anyway, but the 18th is a par. And we move on to the next course. This is going to be Bucks Run Golf Club. This is, I think, the newest course out on GSPRO. So definitely go download it. It's got some awesome trees, as you can see. I really like the, they kind of leaned into the fall grass colorage, the fall, I mean, look at that. Just trees everywhere. The red leaf trees. If someone knows where Bucks Run is, later in the comments, go ahead and post it, because might have to go here in the fall. Dead on shot at the pin at the first, but just doesn't sit up. And then trying to hit something out of the rough, and thankfully it holds on tight for a par. So here's the scoreboard for 4 seconds, and I also got that to work. But I could not get it to work for 3 seconds, 5 seconds. I got very lucky here on this drive, catching just a bit of rough next to this water, and then still got quite a ways in there and hit a good shot right to the center of the green. And that's all you really want to do when you're shooting over water. Par 5, 560, so probably not reachable. Just want to hit a good drive, and those are the metrics I like right there. 146 with 2100 spin and 18 launch, and that ends up going about 280. So that's what we're trying to bottle. And then I got so tired of flipping this thing to the right that I took that driving iron and yanked it left. But either way, we got 100 left on a par 5 and staring it down and setting it in there. Oh, Steven, that's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to tell GSPRO that multiple people have purchased their product because of me and that they should give me some money, but they don't listen. No email response, unfortunately. But I'm glad that you found a cheap way to do what, you see the guys do on Pinterest or whatever with like $1 million house, and they have the bar and everything. I was like, can I do that with plastic PVC pipe? Like, yeah, you sure can. I thought that was going to be a really good drive there, almost 150 ball speed, but it ends up nipping a tree, still with 100 left, and trying to find it. And another par there, so just kind of chilling at -1 so far at Buck's Run, which again, I really like the aesthetics. This one I would definitely play again. I think it's one of the, is it a Pac-Man course? I think it might be a Pac-Man course. If Pac-Man, if you watch this, just comment and let me know. 215, so almost reachable on this par 5, and it just hangs out left. Those usually swing back right for me, but not today. $14 yards remaining on a weird little chip down the hill, just trying to stop it and maybe make it. Oh, not quite. But gave it a run and saved par. So 214. This is a, oh, that's me aiming at 214. It's a par 4, like super dogleg left. So I was just trying to hit it in the elbow here with a hybrid. And it runs out a tad. Now see, we got 2. I should get commission. Just another boring par there. Par 3, this was a 200-yard par 3, and I somehow hit it 220. Like, I don't know. When that happens, I'm as surprised as anybody. I just expect it to not quite be an amazing 200 shot. I get screwed on the way back there with a bogey that goes like 2 inches outside. That's the woes of auto putts. Quite a bit of water here at Buck's Run, actually. So far avoiding it, knock on wood, but sitting at even, and just another par there, and even through 9, which is where you want to be. Kind of a squirty drive here on 10, which is another short par 4. 147 remaining, and that looks pretty good. Sit. Oh, gosh. Screwed again. You're happy with that in real life as well, but when you got the auto putt going, sometimes that can be annoying. All right, trying to go after this, and yeah, got it really spinny. It's going to be 120 away still, and yeah, trying to get extension in the backswing maybe. And that's not going to draw, but it's going to be safely in the 2-putt circle. And another par. So we're playing the white tees here, and they're pretty reasonable. You get some reachable par 5s and some shorter par 4s. This one's a little bit of a longer par 5. Starts out at 513. We got water everywhere left, and just trying to advance it over onto the fairway. I hear ya on the auto putt random. I saw a guy who he had a video. I see a bunch of GSPRO videos because I post these myself, and there was a guy playing and showing his setup and everything, and he had the auto putt circle to like 25 feet or something, and so he just had to hit it on the green. It was like, birdie, you're amazing, uh, and so I don't want to do that. And I was telling someone else the only reason I keep the auto putt circles at the 2 and the 1 is so that every course's score is kind of the same. I've played so many courses now that if I ever want to think about comparing them and the scores I get on them, especially because it's keeping the track of them now uh, in version 2, I kind of like the idea of knowing that they were all on like an equal footing. Obviously, I still play, you know, junior tees and par 3 courses and all that stuff, and that's to my benefit also. Another just barely miss of a birdie there, but we're cruising on the back 9 with pars so far, sitting at even, going to 15, and yeah, and there, I'll tell you, for as many videos as I post, I still play um, sometimes and don't record it or post it, and so I'll do the auto putts and all that stuff as well. I just may not post it to the channel. I don't know if people are even used to seeing the auto putts on the channel. I think it's kind of fun when the chips are, 1 inch away from that little circle lighting up. I think that's kind of a dramatic cruelty to some of the rounds. Here's another one, just kind of right through the circle, and you end up with a bogey. So +1 late here in Buck's run, and we find the water, of course, because I mentioned it earlier. And trying to save some decency here, but just getting it a little close. I had a little like putting track in my garage as well, BRD Golf 1F, and I like that idea, but I really like, I saw on the, if you guys aren't, go to the GARMIN R10 and GSPRO Discord for the GSPRO Discord for the R10 users, and there's some people in there, especially early on, that were thinking about doing like above your on the ceiling sensors that would do the putting for the Garmin, and so when it came to putts, the API would pick up this other sensor and do it. So I don't think that's ever going to come to fruition, but I think the technology is going to get better and better, and it wouldn't surprise me one day if we get an update on the Garmin R10 or Amiivo or whatever, and it goes, yeah, you can putt now. Like, we'll see the putts. We were just kidding around. It's just a little software thing. Because it can read basic. When you hit it 1 degree off the ground and skull it, it reads that. So it's not far-fetched for me to think that there will be putting someday. But I do like all the creative ideas that people have and the setups they have in their garage where they're hitting the putts for real and then assigning the value. I think that's cool. All right, that's 3 courses done already. We're about 30 minutes into this. We got one more course, and then if anyone has any questions, I'll stick around for a little bit and mess around, maybe edit a video a little bit or something like that. So next one's Trump National, Philadelphia. I've been wanting to play this one actually because I've heard that it's a really nice course, but Um, we'll give it a shot here. It starts off with a par 5, 501 yards, and good spin numbers and good launch numbers. That's what we like to see. Second shot finds the rough and is still 166 away. And that's going to be one of those toe shots I was talking about earlier. Just comes up short. These clubs do a pretty decent job of giving me some forgiveness, but if you hit it that much off the toe, it's not going to get there. So an early par on a par 5, and then another toey little mess on the par 3 second, leaving two. A little chip here at Trump National. This is me trying to get the sensor to recognize my swing, and eventually it did, but I hit it a little too far. So a bogey on 2. .439-yard par 4. I do remember Trump National is pretty long. This one kind of sneaks in and out of the trees and actually leaves me some sort of a shot back towards the green. Let's see if I can do anything with it. Yeah, that was a good shot there. Good little fairway finder here on the short par 4, 384-yard 4th. I think Trump National's got a cool layout. It's got a bunch of like elevation changes and kind of undulating fairways and yada yada yada. So I like when that happens, and I like when the course designers can actually show that in the game with some depth and some perception and perspective is the word I was looking for. Kind of a mess there. Made a bogey of 4, sitting at +2. Going to the 5th hole now, which is a 165-yard shot, and that is dead on. And just, I mean, a total of a yard in distance would make about 4 birdies happen in the last couple of holes. So nothing to be too sad about with these pars. Kind of hit that one hard for me, but pulled it a little bit. And then 115 remaining, trying to dial this number in. Dunk it. Oh, jeez. And another good shot that, like you guys are both saying, it doesn't result in a birdie. And, you know, a really good shot like that goes right over the flag and stops. Maybe should. So I definitely understand both sides of that. I mean, maybe someday TrackMan will want to sponsor me, and they'll send me one. And then I know TrackMan can't putt either. I need a GC Quad, or the GC3, or the Bushnell, or maybe I have one of those. Steven, thank you. Yes, some good iron shots. That one hole high there, just a little left on 7. But yeah, when they fly over the flag, I'm not disappointed, even if it's a par. 182, this is a distance I hate. I have to like hit a hard 5 iron or a softer 4 iron, and neither of those are good options. But lucky to get a par there. Another par 5 here. And kind of spinny, but right down the middle. Gonna have to lay up though. I don't think I have 255 11 yards up the hill. Lay up in the worst possible place. Oh, great kick. Whew. 92 remaining. Trying to play the hill here and aim a little right. And it comes off the hill like way more than I thought. But it's going to be short anyway, so probably for the better. And just escape with the par. +2 through the front 9 here at Trump National. Which, if you're +2 through the front 9 at Trump National in real life, and you're me, we're having a celebratory couple Jack Daniels and Cokes, and we're counting that as a win. I'll tell that story forever. Trying to get up there from the woods, but didn't quite have it in me. Now being extra careful to set it in the circle to save par on 10. And able to do so. Going to 11 now, which is a shorter par 4, 367 yards. With all the new animations and I used to put on the screen myself if I got a par or a birdie or a double bogey or whatever, and now it puts it up there for me, so I don't quite know how to edit that yet, which is why it just is like a fade cut. Just FYI for those people who also have to edit videos. What mat do I use? I do have a video somewhere a long time ago that I went to eBay, and there are tons and tons of old driving ranges and stuff that will sell their mats that are used. And so you can see like the indention where the tee is closest to the camera. It's like quite a big little well, and that's probably the part that was used at the driving range, and then they just get rid of them. And so I will find the eBay video real quick. But it was $100 on eBay, or on sale for 90 or something like that. And here's another good iron shot on 13. And I didn't have a ton of expectations, but when it came, it was super heavy duty. It's a little hard, so if you are a big divot guy, this one would probably start to hurt your wrists after a while. I'm, however, like a pick it clean, hit it way up in the air guy, and so it's perfect for me. And then it came free shipping to my house, so it was rolled up in a huge box, and it stuck to the concrete floor with just some Velcro. So let me find it for you here. Let's see. It's called like Texas something. Yeah, so it is, if you only search for used eBay driving range mats. Let me find the seller. Who's the seller? Ball Diver 812. So he has C grade, B grade, and A grade mats. I think this one's C or D, and it turned out amazing. And so I highly recommend getting one of those for sure. That changed the garage sim quite a bit because I was hitting off of like some wood, and then I had this little tiny 2 foot by 1 foot mat that was good quality, but when you can kind of stand there and, oh, I remember this. This is cruel. So there's a par, and it rolls just out to give me a bogey. So 16 being cruel as well, with just a little bit of roll. Trying to take it out on that ball, it looked like, but hit a little spinner out to the right, and that's going to be trouble. Oh, it bounces through everything. And then rejected on the next one. This is going to be painful. Ooh, I see an opening here, though. And it gets through. Okay. So, hitting the fourth shot here with 32 yards remaining over a bunker. And to just get a bogey on that is probably an achievement, in my opinion. 18th hole coming up, our last hole of the night. Trump National Philly. Hitting one okay. It's out on the roughs on the right side. About 250, 150, playing about 160 uphill. Let's see. Yeah, I wish I could do that. I've never swung like that in my life. But we will see what it really looks like here. Oh, it wasn't too bad. Kind of tugged out of the rough. It's got to go. Oh, it went a little too far. A little far and a little left. Gonna have to chip. And not able to save par. So a +6 around Trump National after a pretty good front nine. Kind of fell apart at the end with 4 consecutive bogeys. And not that thrilled about it. If you're still logged on, last chance to get any questions in about what I got going on or about GSPRO or anything like that. And if you are going to watch this later, just comment below and let me know then. Other than that, we have coming up on the channel, we have 3 or 4 rounds still on GSPRO 1 that I just want to get out there so people can see the courses, and then a bunch of stuff coming for GSPRO 2. And let's see, what do I normally shoot? My last 3 rounds in real life, which have been the last like 4 weeks or so, I actually got to go out on the weekends a few times. I shot an 80 at this place up a few miles from here. And then I had a pretty bad round in the wind. It was like 30-mile-an-hour gusty wind at a course I didn't really know very well and never played. And those aren't like the greatest excuses, but I was not surprised to shoot an 86 there with that wind. And then the last round was at 82, I think. So I try and get under 80, and I go home super happy. But I'm sitting at 80 to 84 or 85 most rounds, and then if I play really well, I'll shoot like a 78. It's been a few months since I've done that, but there is some definite translation of taking good swings in different situations, but I think my biggest thing is when I go out is chipping. When you go from chipping off of a mat in GSPRO with a GARMIN to chipping off of like tangled Bermuda or weeds or fescue or rough that's 6 inches, you got to go practice that. So I wish that I could go out and practice some more chipping in real life. I think that would probably help me get under 80 more often. All right. I guess that's it for today. We're at 50 minutes. That's enough for me. I got work in the morning. And we'll get some more stuff on the channel soon. So if you have any other questions, just comment once this ends. And we will see everybody.